Hiya, I'm Dark Shades, and today I was thinking about why somebody would try to steal a woman's car while she's trying to put air in the tyres. So she gets out of her car, she leaves the key in the ignition, and silly I know, but she leaves the key in the ignition. She goes around the other side, and she's putting air in the tyres, and some thief jumps into the car, drives off, dragging her because she's holding onto the car, drags her a few feet, drives off with the car. And I was kind of trying to understand what the mentality is. Did that person leave home and set out to steal a car? And if so, was he just waiting for an opportunity for that to happen? You know, we're in a world now where so many things are so difficult to understand. I tend to think that people are on drugs. I can't think of anything else. I think they're not in their right minds. Either they're on drugs themselves or they need the money to get drugs. But I just kind of think they're not in their right mind. But that isn't really what it is. I'm not even sure what it is. All I know is that it's our essence, I believe, is our core essence to be a good person. And I often wonder if people had all the money in the world and everybody was treated equally, whether the world would be a better place. But I'm not sure. What is our standard? Who teaches our standards now? Now that they don't teach religion in school, that used to be what I grew up with. That was my moral compass. Learning, I think it was called a religious practice or something. But that was my moral compass growing up. Going to Sunday school, that is what taught me what was right and what was wrong. Now, if they've taken religion out of the schools because there's so many different religions and so many different practices, and they can't preach one without the other, where is the individual's moral compass? Where are they getting the education or the knowledge of how to live a good life? How do they know? Now, this has probably been going on for maybe just one generation, I think. It could be two. But it makes me think that maybe that's why there's a rise in crime. Maybe that's why people don't have a conscience. I'm not sure. Because a lot of us, especially as black people, we grew up in the church, and even now you'll find a lot of black people in the church. I know white people go to church as well, but that is where our grounding lies, and that is how, you know, we never used to be that cruel. Now I notice that in certain countries or in certain islands, because the church is now for the elderly or a certain age group, and that age group is dying out, the young people don't have no morale. They don't have no sense of discipline. They don't have no sense of decorum. I'm not saying all of them. I'm not saying all. Some of them don't have no sense of discipline, no sense of decorum. But you'll find that those who grew up in the church or still have that religious influence, they are better people. So wouldn't it be in the government's best interest to bring back that kind of education into the school, that religious education? Because at least I know people kind of have this thing about it's how they enslaved us. That's what they say. They say religion enslaved us. It's the fools Bible. But from a place of compassion and empathy, and for doing good to other people, and for being a good person, isn't it better that we are enslaved, so to speak, than killing each other, and so mercilessly? Personally, I would say yes. I would say bring back the Bible, bring back the good book, bring back it in all its different languages, so we can minimize the killing, and we can minimize, and we could get people back onto track where they are operating from a place of conscience. The conscience is gone because they haven't got, there's no barometer. And you should say, okay, people should know what's right from wrong. But if you remember from religious practice, we used to say every day, we used to say the Lord's Prayer and Psalm 23 every single day, every single morning. We were reminded, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, and he would forgive us. And we'd have another opportunity, but we were reminded. And I think some schools even taught the 10 Commandments. But we were constantly reminded how to be good, what was required of us, what was the moral standard. So without that, it's taken for granted that people know what to do, that young people know how to live, that young people instinctively are going to have a moral compass and are going to do the right thing. That's not going to happen. Everybody needs guidance from young people up. And that's not to inflict your morals and your virtues on other people. But we're talking about the fundamental qualities of being a good person, of being a kind person, of being a generous person, of being a compassionate person, of understanding and listening to another person. To take people into consideration, to care about others, to know that we are all human beings and we're all in this thing together. That's what people need reminding of. And that is why people are forgetting, and they're forgetting humans are humans. They're thinking they're animals. I don't even know what they think they are. But they can't think that they're humans when they're treating them the way they do. And I think as conscious adults, we've somehow got it into our heads that people are instinctively good, instead of realizing that it was the religion that made us good and controlled us. And like I said, I'm not talking about this slave mentality so you can take advantage and take liberty and exploit. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the children having a moral compass so they know right from wrong. Anyway, that's my little rant. Ciao for now.